sucks. I'll just make it suck less. If you're an insurance agent and you're ready to maximize your true potential in the insurance world, then let's go! Before we start, let's get one thing for certain. I wasn't always out here big money earning. A page in my life, I turned it and got into insurance. But hold up, let me back it up a bit. When I was growing up, I felt restricted. From 4 to 5 houses, we got evicted. Got into construction, I was so broke during those years. Get off work, start bitching, hit the couch, drinking beer. Thought my dad was proud of me, I was walking in his shoes. But I heard something inside of me that I now know is true. Just because you share the same blood and DNA, that doesn't mean you gotta do life the same way. Quit that job, the boat, I burned it. I went into insurance, 80K in 9 months, yeah, your boy is earning. And 300K in the next year. Man, I used to be broke and drink beer, but now we're here, let's go. Insurance sucks, I just make it suck less. If you're an agent and you're ready to maximize your true potential in the insurance world, go to bradhannon.com. I'm a health insurance hustler, Bradley Hannon's the name. I'm here to teach these agents how to play the game. I'm a health insurance hustler, one thing you should know about me. I'm a health insurance hustler, bradhannon.com.
Well, what is up, everybody? Happy Monday. That was a killer freaking intro. Shout out to my man E-Dub for the new intro. That was absolutely bomb, if I do say so myself. I am excited here. Let me switch up the view real quick. I'm excited to interview a couple of people that are close with me, a couple of the leaders on my team, some of the most successful, some of my best friends. A couple of my best friends have been working alongside for quite a while. I've got Len Wade and Sean Noonan on the call with me today, guys, and we're going to talk again preparation for open enrollment. Typically, I don't know the guests as well as I know the guests today, and so I let them do a little intro. But I'm going to let Len and Sean introduce themselves in a moment. But before I do, I just want to brag on these guys a little bit. Starting with Sean, because he joined in the early stages of starting the agency, and it's been cool to see him grow because he developed from somebody who, honestly, and I'm just going to throw it out there, Sean, probably not somebody that really cared to go make 6 figures or, really cared to really blow the ceiling off of the potential that he had. And now here we are 2.5, 3 years later, however long it's been, banging away a 6-figure income, building a team, growing an agency, and it's been awesome to see. And then Len Wade, again, somebody who, always made 6 figures most likely, but still had a little bit of, probably complacency and thought, hey, I'm just coasting it out. Now wants to build a multi-million-dollar agency and, again, blowing the lid off the potential. So it's just awesome to see, awesome to, be a part of the journey. And I'm thankful for both of you guys coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Excited for it.
I was hoping someone would break the silence.
Someone's got to respond.
Yeah. Well, first off, let me start with Len, man, because you're live on Facebook right now. And if you didn't know, Len does not have a Facebook. He was worried he wasn't going to be able to get on here. So we made it accessible through StreamYard. If you think Len should get a Facebook, throw it in the comments.
I know.
This guy on Facebook. He needs to be on Facebook. And then you got Sean with a nice shirt. But I want to start with Len because Len's got 27 years of experience in the business, 23 years, whatever the heck, 23, 27. It'll be 27 before long. But tons of value to provide. And he's been doing health insurance most of that time, along with some Medicare. Len, tell us about yourself, man. Give us some background. The audience that doesn't know you, which is probably everybody because you're not on Facebook. So probably just about everybody seeing this doesn't know who you are, but they're going to know you after this. So why don't you give us a little background?
Yeah, I'm Lynn Wade, and I'm 58 years old, and I've been doing this for 23 years. And I'm a perfect example of just an old country boy that likes to talk to people, and you can make a good living doing it. High school education, although my high school was Pickens High School, so I do have a PhD, and I claim that PhD. So and I use that as an excuse for a lot. But I've done just about everything in insurance that you can do. property and casualty, Medicare, life, health. And so over the last 23 years, it's been a very, very good profession for me, and it's allowed me a comfortable lifestyle. And like Brad said, I did get complacent. I was able to kind of coast along there for a couple, 3 years. And then he put the burning desire back in me to build a business and, double or triple or even quadruple my income. And so that's where we are now. And that's what we started working on. And I'll give Brad a shout out too. He and I have known each other, 6 or 7 years before he was even in the insurance industry. And I'm proud of him. And I appreciate him pushing me, but not pushing me to turn me away, just encouraging me would be a good name to use, and not pissing me off in the meantime doing it. So and here we are.
Well, I mean, I think things are a little unfair then if I'm not pissing you off, because you're pissing me off all the time. So it's only fair that I give it back to you every once in a while.
That's the way it should be.
Oh, man. And then Sean, man, if you want to give a little background, I know a lot of people on here watching probably know who you are. You've come to a lot of events with me and things like that. But and a lot of people get to know Len at these events as well. But why don't you give me a little background, and then we'll get into some things, open enrollment style, what you guys are doing to get ready, what you guys are doing to prepare, what your goals are, things like that. Go ahead, Sean.
Cool. Awesome. Absolutely. And thanks for letting Len go first. Age always before beauty, as they say.
And beauty was a horse. You know that, don't you?
That's right. That's right. So just a little bit of background about me. I've been in the business now for about 2.5 years. Known Brad for way too long. Actually used to play Xbox with him back in middle school, travel softball and all, everything. But I've got a finance background. I worked in the corporate world for the better part of a decade doing that. And, as Brad mentioned, was never someone necessarily that strived for a six-figure income. Was definitely something that would be nice to have. But, I worked the corporate world. I was comfortable, had a well-paying job, in my opinion, and very much had the corporate background. And I was a big critic of Brad's originally when he got into insurance, as he could tell you of many softball tournaments. We'd go back and forth. Actually, I had my insurance license longer than him, needed it for the investment side of it. But I knew just enough information to be dangerous, but was not an expert in the field by any means. But one day, just the timing happened to be right. He made a social media post and I decided to respond to it. And next thing you know, I'm on board, and it was the best decision that I ever made. It's an industry that is, the potential is limitless. You can get every single thing that you want out of this business if you're willing to work for it. And that is the coolest thing to me, that you can have every single thing that you want out of this business. You just got to put the time and the effort into it. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here. I've gotten to a point in my career where now I'm hopefully able to help other people the same way that Brad did for me, new agents coming into the industry. So yeah, thanks for having us. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, man. And I know it's not something you guys are always used to, but I want to get into some actual, actionable items for the audience that's watching this. There's obviously some people watching it live. There'll be plenty of people that see the replay. And I want to get down to, they hear it from me a lot, on YouTube and the videos I do, and the kind of the strategy that we take, the approach that we take, how we do things. They always hear it from me. I want people to get to hear from some of my leaders, some of my strongest teammates, some of the guys that, I have invested the most time into and spend a lot of great time learning and growing together. So I'm excited to have you guys on. Before we get into it, or as we get into it, guys, if you want to throw it in the comments, tag somebody that needs to see this. These are both individuals that are either earning a high six-figure or $250,000 income. They're both killing it. Both have implemented the strategies and the approach that, a lot of us use in this industry. And so tons of value here. Tag some friends, tag some people that need to see this. If you're watching the replay, you can share this thing out after it posts live. It will be shareable. So share this video out. We want to make sure that we help as many people have a successful open enrollment as possible. I want to start with you, Len. Obviously you've been around the industry for a while. You kind of have a good expectation or most likely have an expectation of what to expect for open enrollment and goals and things. So why don't you dive into for us real quick, like what your goals are through open enrollment, how this open enrollment may vary a little bit from previous open enrollments, and the strategy and approach behind it. I know that's a lot, but you can take it one step at a time.
I wrote it down, so I'm good. No, my goal is 450,000 for November and December. 225 a month is my goal. Maybe a little bit too low, but that is my goal for the month. And how do you get there? Obviously, you can't start November the 1st to have a goal like that. Some people's goals may be a lot higher than that. And if it is, I applaud you. That's great. One thing about your goal, it's your goal. Don't let somebody else influence what your goal is. You know what you can do. And I think the worst thing in the world is you set an unrealistic goal and then you fall way short and get discouraged. There's one thing to stretch yourself and not reach your goal and still have a great year. But there's one thing to say, well, I'm going to do $500,000 in 2 months and you've never done $100,000 in a month before. I think that's stretching it. So set realistic goals and set attainable goals. And that's what gives you confidence in what you're doing, is when you hit a goal, you say, hey, I can really do this. But you can't start November the 1st. You probably should already started. You've got to be calling people. You've got to get that pipeline full. You're going to get a lot of people who say, well, can you call me back in 2 weeks? Can you call me back in a week? Can you call me back the 1st of December? And when you go through that and you have that pipeline full of people that you're writing now, and then all of a sudden, when I got in my office this morning, people I talked to last week, I had 12 people to call this morning that just from conversations I had last week. Through whatever their work circumstances is, you couldn't, they couldn't talk to me at that time on there. So you make sure you have your pipeline full. If you haven't started that, you need to start today. You can't wait till tomorrow, because what you don't want to do is November 1st, all of a sudden it take 2 weeks before you're talking to somebody that you've got to get back to on there. I'd say the second biggest thing in order to get your goals is you've got to be organized. You can't be winging it. You've got to have a stack of leads. If you're using leads or whatever you're using, I'm still old time. These are some of the leads I've got to call today. I'm still using paper, and that's okay. And you've got to be organized to call who you're going to call instead of searching for stuff. Because when it gets to be November the 1st, you can have a lot of the non-income producing activities can suck a lot of your time. You look up and all of a sudden it's 10:30 and you haven't talked to anybody. So that would be two of the things that I would encourage, that you need to start today if you haven't started it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you take a really kind of a focused approach. I mean, obviously we take a very similar approach. Break into that a little bit. And by the way, for those watching that don't realize what he meant when he said 225 or the 450, that's the annual volume and premium, right? And that's not, we're not talking ACA premium in that business either. We can obviously talk about ACA premiums as well, but the premiums aren't so much the thing, it's the members, right? So he's got a goal for that as well, I'm sure. But more so when we're talking annual volume, we're not talking $225,000 worth of ACA premium, right? That is most likely 225,000 of supplemental. It's not most likely, it definitely is supplemental private options like short-term medical, fixed benefits, things like that, alongside of ACA plans as well. And that equals a good amount of income, right? I don't know necessarily. I'm just going to do the quick math off the top of my head. That is roughly $45,000 in commission, right? We'll just call it $50,000 in commission over the year. That's over a 12-month span. That's a six-figure income in 2 months, right? And those are the kind of numbers we talk about. Those are the kind of numbers that we see in this space, is a six-figure income, right? Six-figure renewal income generated in just 2 months. So that's pretty awesome stuff there. Sean, I'm going to switch it to you, man. What's some of your goals for open enrollment? What's different about this open enrollment for you than years past? Like what to break into that a little bit, and then we'll kind of dissect the strategy behind it.
Yeah, I would say one of the big differences going into this open enrollment versus past ones is we've got a set period of time that's longer. Typically it's December 15th, and they extend it. they did that right off the bat. So we've got through January 15th already. So obviously it's a longer period of time. But one of my big goals is a little less focused on myself and more on the team. This is the first open enrollment going into it to where I've got a decent sized team going into it. And for me, I want every agent that I have to have not only just their best month, but ideally make more in one single month than they've ever done in their entire life. During my first open enrollment, I was in the business for 6 months at that point in time through the end of it. And I made $20,000 in 2 months, which was incredible. I couldn't do that before in my previous job if I wanted to. My own personal goal is a little selfish one and kind of a little dig, but I want to make more than my fiance makes an entire year in 2 months. And she's a state employee. She doesn't have the option or the ability to make any more. She's a salary employee. So,
Eric, that's a highlight clip, by the way.
Yeah.
That little nugget right there. Make sure we get the higlight clip. I can post it on today's
Don't send
wall.
that to her. She's gonna make the wedding budget go up more if she hears that. So, but yeah, that's a personal goal, and that's just a small thing, but to me, I think that would be cool, to be able to do something in 2 months that it takes someone 12 months to do. So those are open enrollment goals that I have. My advice to anybody watching this live or the replay is the way you're going to accomplish that during open enrollment. To me, there's 3 key things that you need during open enrollment. First one is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't complicate it. Find a niche market, something that you're very good at, that you're comfortable with, that you understand, and focus on that. The way that you're going to end up not being successful or not as successful is by going down all these rabbit holes. Chasing these leads that are very complicated, or somebody that necessarily doesn't want to do it. We've got an agent in here who does very well, who says a line all the time that I love. It's, my job isn't to convince you that you need health insurance. My job is to help you if you want it. So if you're constantly going back and forth with someone who just has no interest in buying, well, don't have any interest in selling it to them, which leads to my second thing: be selfish. You have to be selfish this time of year. And what I mean by that is be selfish with your time. If you're talking to a client and this is the 6th, 7th, 8th time you talk to them and they're not ready to make a decision, don't prioritize that person anymore, because there's somebody else that you can speak with that will. If you've got somebody that is not falling within that spectrum that you're looking for, that is more of a complicated case, that if you're talking to somebody and you're spending a whole lot of time talking about just a dental policy, well, that shouldn't be very high on your priority list. You need to be selfish. And the biggest thing is, you'll talk to people, they'll be busy. They're like, yeah, call me anytime after 2 on Wednesday. And flat out tell them, listen, that's not how my schedule works. I'm extremely slammed this time of year. My schedule is booked solid. I've got a specific time set. I've got 2:45 to 3:15 on Wednesday afternoon. If that time works for you, great. If not, let me know another day and we can figure out a time that works there. But I need a specific time where I've got your attention, to where you're available, to where we can have a conversation with substance, because I don't have time to just call me out of the blue, because I don't have time for that. So be selfish.
That's good.
And the third thing, referral partners. And what I mean by referral partners, obviously it's great to get referrals, but you need referral partners who you can send business to as well too. So if you're a agent who only specializes working under 65, find a referral partner that does Medicare for some of those people that you talk to that are turning 65. If you're somebody that only writes ACA and you get someone who doesn't, want ACA because their income's too high, whatever it may be, find an agent that works under 65 private insurance, and vice versa. If you write on under 65 and you don't do ACA, find a referral partner for that. The reason why is because it goes back to the other points. You're focusing on a niche market that you specialize in. You're being selfish with your time, but you're also doing the right thing for your clients. Because the last thing you want to do is sign them up or sell them on a policy that you don't know much about, that you're just writing a policy to get paid a commission on. And I can tell you that is the worst thing you can do in this business, because A, that client's not going to stay on the books, and B, it's negative karma. And I'm too big of a believer in karma to do that. So do the right thing, have referral partners. And I can guarantee you, if you're a under 65 agent, you're working with a Medicare agent, you sell them 3 or 4 referrals for turning 65 leads, which are the easiest Medicare leads there are. I guarantee you that Medicare agent who doesn't write under 65 is going to send you some of his spouses that are under 65 that need help as well too. So it's definitely a road that goes both ways.
Yeah, and I'd love to see this industry move more towards the focused approach. So I love that point, the finding referral partners to send business to, because really specializing in a niche is huge, man. Len, I will pass it over to you. That was great advice, Sean. Number one, keep it simple. I think that is super overrated, right? You've got to keep it simple, especially during this time of year when you need to be, number two, selfish with your time and working with referral partners. Len, what advice would you have for somebody going into open enrollment, either new agent or even a seasoned agent for that matter? You've been in the business 23 years. What are some practical tips for open enrollment to maximize success?
And I'll agree with Sean on the time. I call them time suckers. People call me back. Well, they're not serious. You can't do that. You wait till a slow time of the year if you want to chase them. Don't do it right now. And I don't focus on ACA. I write ACA business if that's what the client needs during open enrollment. So when we went back to what would be different this year, other than the time extension they gave for the ACA plans, then I don't think it's really any different for me, because I treat every day and every week just like I would during open enrollment, with the exception that I will work more during open enrollment than I do any other time, because that's when people's interests are a little bit hotter. It's when it's more in the forefront of their minds. It's when it's been publicized out there about health insurance. They kind of start thinking about it, that type of thing. So
yeah.
I would just say that I think the referral partners are key also. And as Sean was thinking about that, I just popped into my mind a guy that I hadn't talked to in probably 7 or 8 years that has a Medicare agency about 20 miles from my house. I'm going to take time to go knock on his door and go sit down with him. And,
there you go.
We had a pretty decent working relationship back in the day, and both of us were in the same business. But so thanks, Sean, for that. I probably wrote his name down.
You're welcome. Don't send me a referral fee for that.
Yeah, and I think also it's very, very easy when you're sitting. I don't know how many people are virtual or how many are on the road and actually face to face and that type of thing. Everything I do is 100% virtual. I've seen 2 clients in 6 years face to face, and one is my next door neighbor, retired last October, and I walked over to his house with shorts and flip flops on for health insurance policy. So as far as if you're virtual, it's very, very easy to get caught up in non-income producing activities during the best times to be on the phone talking with people.
Totally.
You have to set your own schedule. It's very easy for me to get to my office at 8 o'clock or 8:30 and organize what I'm going to do for the day, instead of getting to my office my office is upstairs in my house. Instead of getting to my office or staying in my office an extra 30 or 45 minutes later when I'm finished talking with people and get everything organized for the next day. It's very easy to answer emails or answer text or do a lot of service work if you have that during the income producing activity. Some of it you do have to do, because you want to make sure you keep your current clients and keep them happy. If it's something that you have to do, you have to do. But you don't want to make it a habit of spending 3 hours a day doing service work for somebody. Simply, hey, let me check on this, I'll call you back. So the income producing activities are basically one thing. And what is that?
Pick up the
Selling.
phone.
Dialing for dollars, baby. You got to get on there and start calling people. And that's what produces your money. Either setting appointments to go see people, or setting appointments for a virtual or one call closes, whatever it may be. That's what produces the income, is This little thing right here. So if you're not doing that during your prime time, and you know, there's kind of been this little, well, you know, the best times to call are between 9 and 11 and 1 and 3 and 5 and 7 and all that. To me, the best time to call is 9 o'clock, and I usually don't start before 9 o'clock. Just, you know, people have kids getting to school and call me backs and all that from experience. 9 o'clock until whenever I meet my goal. If that's 6 o'clock or if that's 7 o'clock, so be it. If it's 4 o'clock, then I've hit my goal for today. So I start working with, this is bonus money coming up now because I hit my goal for the day. But I think that would be key is like, I agree with Sean on the time suckers, and make sure you're only doing income producing activities during the prime time to make your money on there.
Yeah. Yeah. And time blocking is a huge thing too, guys. If you're, you know, you got to be realistic, right? There is going to be a time to be organized, right? Len's talking about money making activities, and absolutely, you know, you want to focus on that, but there's obviously a factor of keeping organized as well. And you're going to have to set aside some time to be organized. So you need to time block, and you need to make sure that those times that you're, you know, spending time, either organize your calendar, setting appointments, whatever, the non-money making stuff, maybe you're processing some applications, maybe you're, contrary to popular belief, you know, that the actual processing of the actual application is something that, you know, you can do later on in the day. I know for me, I'll take applications throughout the whole day, and then in the evening, I'll be plugging them in, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of outside of that time. So block your time out accordingly, and make sure that you know, even though you can do it now, do you need to do it now, or should you get back on the phone with another client? I want to talk about something, because both of you guys do purchase leads. Both of you guys, you know, participate in some of the lead programs that we offer. And by the way, guys, let me just give a shout out real quick to Len. For those of you guys that don't know him, which probably many of you, or if you're catching this after, you know, Len was a solo producer, always wanted to just, you know, basically just be solo producer, not build a team. He loves, you know, our team, but it was never really, you know, in his desires to build a team. And he started to build a team, and it's exciting to watch. So if you're looking to get into the industry, you're catching this on a replay, you know, reach out. We've got Len, who's building a team, Sean talking about his team. You know, we've got great leaders, great resources. And speaking of resources, talking about leads, right? Both of you guys participate in some of our lead programs, or all of our lead programs. You buy leads on your own. You have access to the free leads that we offer as well. But both of you guys have done a really good job of not being lead dependent. And what I mean by that is, it's not necessarily the lead programs or the leads that have caused your success. You're getting a lot of referrals. You do have a lot of referral partners. Let's talk about some ways to generate leads, not necessarily through just purchasing them, right? Because we all know there's different lead vendors. You can go buy your internet leads, go buy your telemarketing leads. You can set up your own telemarketer for that matter. But what really seems to make the difference in six-figure earners like you guys, and somebody that, you know, is maybe making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year doing this, is typically the additional income you're able to generate through referrals or through word of mouth and things like that. Let's talk about that real quick.
Sean, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. No, I'll go first. Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things that's helped me a lot, outside of obviously the lead sources, you know, buying leads, whatever it may be. You know, a lead's a lead. Everyone says it, but it's true. The best lead's the one that answers the phone. Doesn't matter where the source is. But outside of that, what I can really say, the biggest thing that I've done that's helped me is, you know, when they call, answer the phone. I'll be honest, I don't answer the phone when they actually call me. I like it to go to voicemail. The reason why, it's very much a psychological thing. You know, if you call me and I don't pick up right away, you're assuming that I'm busy. And I usually am. But, you know, I'll try to give them a call back within the hour. Because most people, especially from a professional environment, understand that you're not always just sitting there waiting for their call, but if you call them back in a short amount of time, they appreciate that. But by keeping in touch with your clients, especially when they're reaching out to you, gives them a lot of confidence in you. And I can tell you that was one of the biggest things that I did from day one that allowed me to start getting referrals early on. because we're very much a remote agency, we do everything over the phone. They've never met us. They don't have a physical office that they show up and walk in to come see me. They don't have any other way to get a hold of me other than by communication, either via email or via the phone. So if you can respond, I can tell you're already doing 90% more than what their current agent is, because most people, I don't think, respond to their clients at all. I hear it all day, every day. I've got an agent, but I hear from him once a year when he calls me to rewrite my policy. That's it. So be in contact with your clients. Something super, super simple that is very, I was going to say, kind of lost in today's modern age is write people a handwritten card when you sign them up. It costs 53 cents for a stamp. You can go buy 100 pack of envelopes at Walmart for probably $1 or $2. If you want to get fancy and buy some pre-made cards, go ahead and do that. They're cheap on Amazon. I don't know the price, but you can look them up. I'm sure they're cost effective. But just write somebody a simple thank you for, trusting me to protect you and your family with your insurance. Here's my card. If there's anybody else that you know that I could help, please have them reach out. Or better yet, send me their contact information so I can reach out to them. I can tell you,
I've got his handwritten cards right there.
There you go. Honestly, Len, I have the same exact ones.
About $10 for 100.
Yep.
And there's also if you're, for those of you that are like, really advanced, you can actually write a handwritten letter, and then there's through send out cards, you handwrite, so it's in your handwriting and it looks like it's a handwritten letter, but it's not. But you can still a lot of times tell, or you can just pay somebody to do it as well. I mean, if you're really busy and you can't write a handwritten letter, pay somebody $100 a week to follow up with all your clients. It'll pay for itself. I mean, keeping those clients on the books.
Yeah.
I do want to ask real quick because we're talking. I mean, obviously Len and Sean both do it, and we're talking about something that I think that a lot of people should be doing if they're not already. But it brings me to it just caused me to think about, well, what portion of your time, and then obviously this varies by the size of your book of business and whatnot, but for someone with it, let's just say an average size book of business or somewhat newer book of business, what percentage of your time do you spend with existing clients versus finding new business during the open enrollment period?
I spend very little. What I'll do is I'll pull out a list of the way I have my file system set up. I'll pull out all the A's and set them on part on my desk. And throughout the day, I try to reach out to between 5 to 10. It just depends on how things are going, and just say, how's everything going? Is everything working? Do you have any issues? Are you happy? If you're happy, will you tell somebody about me? So not a lot of time, but it's, just like what we've talked to the team about, if you do small things consistently over a long period of time, it'll turn out to be big things. Yeah. And so it may not sound like a lot calling 5 people a day, but over the course of a year, it's pretty a lot of people you're reaching out to as far as your existing clients go. Right. So
other than that, more than most people, more than most people, because you're at least reaching out after the sale.
And one thing I'm trying, and I'm going to encourage people, don't be afraid to try stuff to see if it works. I've failed in more stuff that I've tried in my career than I've ever succeeded in, I can tell you. And this is one thing, I'll let you know how it goes. I found this little magazine deal when we were at a conference. Some of y'all were probably at those conferences. And it's just, they have different covers with different stuff in it. I'm taking 50 clients and sending all these magazines. It'll have my logo, have my name and logo. It's got several. I mean, it's nice. It's a very nice magazine. And there's 5 or 6 places in here where it has your name, your contact information, all that kind of stuff. And that's something I'm trying to send out to my clients and have it laid on their coffee table with my face right here. And then maybe somebody comes in their house and sees it and say, hey, what's this here? And then gives me a call about being a referral. So kind of a non-passive way of trying to get referrals from your existing book of business also.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I want to open it up for any questions. I know we got a little bit of a time restriction today, so probably go another 5-6 minutes. If anybody has any questions, want to open it up to the audience. These are the guys that work directly with me, the closest. I mean, these are the guys that know the process that you hear from me all the time. Hopefully what you're hearing from them is very similar, because we all take a similar approach. And those that don't reinvent the wheel typically are the ones that we see the most success with. That's the definition of these two right here. Came in focused and obviously with experience, one with experience previously, one without experience previously, both super successful by just sticking to the process. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat right now. We've got another great guest, actually a few great guests for you on Wednesday, and then another great guest on Friday. I'm really excited about the final week because we've got some heavy hitters as well. But this has just been extremely valuable. Also, if you have something that you want to see, like if you're like, hey, you know what, you guys haven't talked about this yet, shoot me a message. We want to gear this content towards what's going to be most helpful for the audience. We've got, 2,000 people almost in the Facebook group now, which is unbelievable. I mean, we just started it at the beginning of this year. And so, to have 2,000 people in the Facebook group, learning, growing, just kind of participating as a community together has been awesome. So we want to gear the content around exactly what you want to hear. I can tell you, for me personally, the focus is still on the private insurance options, right? I love the opportunity that exists in the ACA now, and it's improving. But I still hold to, what I love to do, which is help the healthy and wealthy, so to speak, right? That's a very niche market, and, there's tons of opportunity there. The thing I like most about it is that, I relate well with those people. So it works for me, and it works for these two guys as well. So if you have questions about that, if you need contracts, if you need assistance with any of that stuff, reach out. We're here for you. Doesn't look like we're getting any questions at the current moment. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But I want to say thank you guys again. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Len, for taking some time out of your day. I know this is a busy time of year, kind of already starting with open enrollment. So appreciate you taking some time with us. And thanks.
Cool. Thanks.
Appreciate you, Brad. Thanks.